Vermilion, the best map in the game, is where we have to gather 20 xenon crystals and return them to the stabilizer in the middle of our base. The crystals appear once lava recedes from the low ground. But we need to flee to the high ground while the lava is up. Missiles fly in from the sides and hit your buildings, but you can shoot them down before they hit. Half of all enemy units, structures, and missiles are immune to you. The other half is immune to your ally.
Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor, he's great against missile command. He's also a Terran. However, he's really bad for the mission.
Yeah.
Because his army is going to be small and you can't expand early, so your economy is not going to be good. So you're going to be relying on call downs for the early part and like a super small army. So if you like lose your stuff somehow or whatever, or you misuse your call down, you're going to be set back and you can't really help like clear enemies.
Very true.
So yeah, and also the attack waves are random, so you can't even plan your call down usage that well. Like early on you can, but later on, like you don't know when they come. So it's like, I hope I have a Hyperion for this one, and if not, then that's too bad.
That's too bad.
I put Raynor in C.
C? Okay. How about you, Sticksbender?
I do once again think that Twotuuu slightly undervalues Raynor's army. Like, I get that it's not the strongest army, but it's good. It's not like he's bad at having an army. That being said, yes, you are going to be very strapped for cash early on. By late game, you should be fine. You should have enough money to just kind of have a big army out on the map and also have missile defenses and also have repair. It's just a matter of getting to the point where you snowballed your economy enough to be able to afford all the things you want to be doing.
Yeah.
I would say that he's probably B at the lowest, personally.
That's also where I put him. I put him in B.
Yeah, you do have bunkers, which are great against missiles.
Yeah, repair.
You do have repair. And you can contribute an army to help your ally in like just a move with your ally. And at the end of the day, that's what Polarity is: a moving in parallel with each other.
Yes.
And Raynor's army is highly a movable, and it also is hit scan. So, and it's range, so it doesn't have to worry about like tripping over, an enemy Polarity unit physically body blocking you from getting at your Polarity units. So that's nice.
Okay. Twotuuu, are you okay with B?
I don't think he's that, like, that requires you to, you're going to build a bunker ring around all the bases.
It's not to a bunker
so
ring.
Like what?
You need like 2 or 3 on each base, so that's a max of like.
It depends 12. How many buildings your ally has, because like if you don't, then the missiles will sneak through the middle where you don't have a bunker, right?
Well, to be fair, as they're building more buildings, you can add more bunkers. It's kind of just like the whole thing with Raynor. The whole difficulty of Raynor is just managing your economy during the early game, and then once you actually have things set up, it only gets easier for Raynor as the mission goes on.
Yeah, that's the early game is the
hard
part.
I agree with that. I've played Raynor against Missile Command. It does take a long while to ramp up, especially if you've also been building stuff in the early game to shoot down the missiles or just repair. It costs money too. So,
and then if your enemy's not cooperative, then they're like gonna storm your stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like, oh, my army's gone.
Or not even just Bailing Scourge even. Terrible.
Yeah.
Reavers, Disruptors, Siege Tanks. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that does seem bad.
I mean, to be fair, if you do the orbital spamming thing, then on the bright side, now you are already doing pretty good for the whole missile tanking strategy by having all these orbitals anyways.
That's true. So he's between B and C, right?
Yeah.
So here's how we'll do it. Is he better than Dahaka, Phoenix, and Hot and Horner?
Better than Hot and Horner.
Definitely, yeah. I'd say better than Dahaka and Phoenix, to be honest. Well, yeah, I'd say he's better than Dahaka and Phoenix.
I actually do think he's better than Dahaka and Phoenix because, like, I really value repair and shooting downing the missiles thing.
Yeah.
And you do have despite how slow you are, you do have an ally to help push alongside you when it does come time to push. So you don't have to lose your entire army pushing alone, unless you really want to push alone and lose your entire army. Treat your
Well, you have Polarity, so you have to push together. But
pretend you're Stukov or
it's just
something.
it's just like if your army is not, it's like disappears, then your ally's going to be like, I'm gonna be taking hits because I can't kill these guys.
Yeah. Raynor is DPS oriented rather than durability oriented on his army, so he does run into that as a problem against Polarity because things need to die before you die. You can't just tank damage. You need things to die before your things die.
That's true.
And if your ally doesn't kill his stuff or something, then you just gotta run.
Yeah, you can kind of run. You can just run a few Marauders, Marines in alongside an SCVR2, grab the crystals, and run out of there.
I'm not certain that really works. I think you just need to have your ally show up.
Yeah, I think I also agree that the ally showing up is the superior option. It's just that if
I'm
your
not
ally
sure the
doesn't
alternative
show
really
up,
is an option given how flimsy your units are. Because even your tanky units in the form of Marauders are squishier than a Zealot.
fire butts then.
They're still pretty
Imagine,
squishy. But
imagine
yes,
buying fire butts just for them to tank.
I mean, it's a thing you can do.
It's almost
if you're against,
cheaper.
Like, Swarmy.
It's almost cheaper, especially if you're bringing an SCV anyway, to drop a bunker or the bunker. I mean, to drop a depot.
Yes. Anyways, yeah, he actually is reasonably similar to Dahaka, admittedly, because both of them have the thing of they're pretty bumpy early on because handling missiles is expensive for both of them. Or, well, Jimmy, it's not that expensive to handle missiles even. It's more just the fact that Jimmy is bumpy early on as a general blanket statement. So,
I would distinguish the bumpiness in the early game for Dahaka and Raynor. Dahaka's bumpy early game can get him destroyed if he doesn't have a tight build, because he does not have repair options and even anti-air options. He has to rush to primal orbs, which take a while. Whereas Raynor, his bumpy early game is merely a roadblock, I would think, because you do have a long ramp up time allowed in this map. You have I think 10 minutes or so. 10 minutes to really get your expansion going, your army going, before you really have to push up a ramp. Or even you can even wait a bit longer if you really need the extra time. And yeah, because Raynor is Raynor, he has bunkers, so he won't really be threatened by the mutation in the early game, unlike Dahaka. So I think that's what separates. I know, although that being said, after the early game, Dahaka is way stronger. I don't deny that. It's just that the most critical part of the game, I believe, is the early game for, I think, both these commanders. Well, I guess Dahaka still kind of has to worry about the random missiles in the late game, maybe. Since the worms, I don't think are hit scan.
Yeah, although to be fair, Raynor also kind of has to worry about random missiles unless he has a pretty thorough bunker spread, so, yeah.
Repair. You can just repair.
Well, yeah. Just repair and pay attention to nukes. Don't just assume that they will deal with themselves.
I think the nukes are pretty much the only threat to Raynor in the late game.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and more specifically, the nukes that your ally has to shoot down.
Oh yeah, the nukes that your ally has to shoot down. If they can't shoot it down, like it doesn't matter.
Although there is an interesting note there actually. If a nuke lands because your ally didn't shoot it down, that's really, really, really expensive for Dahaka. Not quite as bad for Jimmy, because if you lose all those creeper hosts, that's bad.
Yeah, that is terrible. Oh my goodness. Whereas if you lose your army, oh no. Well, not oh no, but it's
for Jimmy, yeah. I mean, your barracks survive. The add-ons won't survive, but the barracks will survive.
That's true. Besides, I don't think Raynor's army has a high chance of standing in a nuke anyway, because the nukes go for your base,
Yeah.
and Raynor's army is not decidedly
With the
not in
Allies'
his
army,
base. Yeah.
yes.
Whereas Dahaka's army is in his base. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that definitely being a thing. So ultimately, where does that lead us? What do you think, Tutu? Is Raynor still not better than Dahaka, definitively, or at least not by a whole tier?
I don't think he's that much better.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree. It does seem like he's similar tier, like same tier but better when comparing him
Same
to
tier,
Dahaka.
but better.
So high C. Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
High C is not too bad. Okay, let's put him in high C. Prestige
you
recommendation.
did it, Raynor.
We did it.
0.
0. Okay, no prestige. Yeah, that works just fine actually. Yeah, 0. No prestige.
Or P2 because it's practically P0.
That's true. Anyway, let's move on. Stetboy, where do we have him?
So Gary gets messed up by point defense now, right?
Yes.
That's a thing that became a
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Hmm.
Gary got the nerf. The much
Gary
needed
got
Gary
the
nerf.
big nerf hammer. Gary got the very heavy nerf hammer.
Not the most critical nerf for this mutation though. He can still repair. Despite
He
being
can
a
still
Zerg.
repair. He can still repair despite being a Zerg. He does not have hit scan. So you're not a real Terran. You don't have hit scan. And now that Gary doesn't even ignore point defense, what does he have that ignores point defense? Technically E-Orbs, I guess. I think. Yeah. I don't think Stetmann is great here, to be honest. Your missile defense is kind of awful. And your pushing with Gary is significantly neutered by the fact that you still have Igor, but your auto attacks are going to constantly be running into point defense drone problems. And by himself, Gary is not going to burn through those point defense drone energy. If you have an ally who's already using an army that just uses sheer volume of projectiles to deplete the energy of the point defense drones, then you'll be fine because your ally will deplete the energy for you. But otherwise, you're kind of going to want to have army pushing with your ally, which isn't really a great option when like all your money needs to go into defending against missiles.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly where to put him. Maybe C, maybe D, but I don't feel like Stetmann's good here.
Okay. How about you, Tutu?
He pushes alone. You're not always surrounded by a PDD, and you're gonna use Igor more than the auto attacks. So you're clearing your enemies with Igors. That means the rest of your money is going to Spore Forest, or you can.
Sporist.
I don't know if Ultralists can like suck the missiles to death. But I do know that you can use the Brute Lord Yamato to Yamato a nuke, and that works. Since if you're only using Gary, you're not going to use your units, so you just have a bunch of Hydras and a few Brute Lords or something, and they'll just Yamato nukes.
I would note the Corruptor also has a manual spell that gets to ignore PDD, so probably use that instead of Brood Lords because that's way cheaper.
That's true. I agree with that.
It's Brood Lord is much more reliable because you just Yamato once and then
it goes through the point defense drones.
It does. I mean, it's only 2 casts of the other spell to shoot down the nuke.
The E thing, if you miss, you can miss. So
you can miss, but you can also have more Corruptors.
You carpet bomb. You just carpet bomb the area around the nuke, so that'll work.
Yeah, whichever.
And because you have Stellite Vision, you can actually see the nukes come ahead of time, and you just you click your Broodlord, you Yamato, and then you return home. So you can click the nuke to make sure that you hit it.
Yeah, I do have to remember that
either way,
you have support.
you can do that or corruptors, and then you can get like sumlings to assist to stall and stuff, and go with Gary to attack. And he's also Terran, so he repairs. So I put Stetmann in B.
Are you okay with B, Sticksbender? Is he definitely better than Raynor and Dahaka?
Yes. He repairs just like Raynor.
He repairs.
And then he's a one-man army.
He can
He
even
does not have hit scan missile defense though.
He can
But-
even do the shield thing, the shield studlight thing, overcharge. That works.
Yeah. I think that if he's better than C tier, it's only because he is a very effective support due to green zone plus Steadlight overcharge, making his ally very tanky. And the vision by stat zones. Like, seriously, having map wide invulnerable vision is so good. It's like one of the greatest features of Stetmann that like often kind of just gets pushed to the wayside because Gary is so strong.
Carax agrees.
Karax agrees. Karax
Juan
is
agrees.
happy to know all your locations.
Okay, so are you okay with B?
Still hesitant to put him in B personally, but I guess I can see it. I just consider like dealing with missiles without hit scan to be very, very painful at best.
Yeah, very dodgy, but
like, even at best,
you can
like,
still
even
just
at
kind of
max
repair
out of
them.
Hydralisks. Even at an absolute max out of Hydralisks, they're still going to have to work hard to shoot down all the missiles, which is
You can
kind of
always-
rough.
You can always go mass
If
repair.
you're literally maxed out on anti-air and those units are still having a hard time handling all the missiles, that's not ideal.
You can also go mass repair.
You can always go mass repair, and then your allies Zerg, and then you can't. But you know,
Mass spores.
because you also have to remember that with Polarity, you have to cover so much more area when defending against the missiles too.
Yes.
And that's why you don't need to spend your money on anything except defense, because Gary himself can do everything on the map.
Yeah.
That's the power of friendship.
Yeah.
Super friendship.
I think I think that if the mission goes any longer than planned, you're gonna be in big trouble. But otherwise, I guess I don't know. I feel like he probably goes at C, and I don't even think he's better than Raynor and Dahaka personally.
Okay, are you okay with C Twotuuu?
He's not. He's definitely better than all the C people. Like,
He's better than the sea
Yeah.
people. He's in
he
the
doesn't
sky.
have to worry about
He's
dying.
better than the
He
sea.
doesn't worry about dying. He doesn't worry about dying. He helps his ally. He has ways to deal with it. They're not like super bad. They're not like Zagara levels of you gotta aim or
Okay,
something.
There's that. Could be worse.
He
It can
looks
always get
down
worse.
on the underwater people and sea.
You just dump like spore crawlers all around your bases, and then like you'll help your ally shoot stuff, and you have a bunch of drones repairing
Oh my
whatever gets
goodness.
hit.
Yeah.
And then you have Brew Lords for Yamatos to directly shoot down any nukes.
All right. By the rule of repair, I can see him as B tier.
You can see him as B. Okay, let's put him in B. He has only one prestige here, right? Second prestige, right?
Second prestige.
Oh yeah,
Super duper Gary.
the only prestige that exists.
Look at Gary. He's looking down all them underwater people in C tier. Let's move on. Let us indeed move on.